You're listening to Butts Talk on Spreaker. Well, I can't say I have any special effects, because I don't have any special effects, but this is the inaugural show of Butts Talk. I'm Nick Butts. Yes, my voice is this deep. I'm 15 years old, I'm a high school sophomore, with a passion for public speaking, radio and television, and most importantly, college football. So on Butts Talk, I will just discuss my thoughts on college football this week, including rankings analysis, team-by-team breakdown, conference breakdown, this week's games, and on this edition, doomsday scenarios on how each conference can get left out of the playoff. My top four and who I think will make it come Selection Sunday. So let's get started. The second college football playoff committee rankings were released last night. No real surprises in the top four. Alabama, Clemson, Michigan, Washington. Washington taking over Texas A&M's spot after the Aggies went on the road to Starkville and lost to Mississippi State. So Washington is now number 4, sitting at 9-0. They have a tough home game this week against the Southern California Trojans. On the outside looking in, you have number 5 Ohio State and then number 6 Louisville. I think this they got it right this week. Really nothing much more. A few surprises, though, coming down. Penn State is a top 10 team at number 10. I can't say I agree with that, but I'm glad for James Franklin and his Nittany Lion squad. Colorado is number 12. That's pretty impressive for the Buffs. They're 7-2 this season. I have to give them credit. They've went on the road to Ann Arbor and lost early in the year. Only 45-28, though. They're a good team. They could make the Rose Bowl if they win the Pac-12 South, but then lose the Pac-12 championship game. No, not a chance. Iron Bowl against Auburn. Crazy things happen in the Iron Bowl, but man, as much as I would love to see Auburn win that game, I don't think they will. I think Alabama will go undefeated this year. I think they will win the SEC, and they will be 13-0, and they will be number 1 going into the college football playoff. They will face the number 4 team and the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Anyway, number 2, Clemson. Yes, I am a Clemson Tigers fan, but, man, just, they're not, I don't think they're as good as they were last year. They still don't completely have me convinced. I'm not set on them. I'm not sure. They're 9-0, yes. They've taken down Auburn, Louisville, and Florida State. 3 quality wins, 2 on the road. All close games, 6 points or less. I don't think that they would be able to beat Alabama right now. I don't think that they would be able to beat Louisville again if they were to play again, which they won't. They could beat Michigan. They could beat Washington. They could beat Ohio State. I think the only 2 teams right now that they would lose to, though, would be Alabama and Louisville. I think they will go 13-0, though. I think they will win the ACC championship game, whether it be against Virginia Tech or North Carolina. Most likely Virginia Tech. I will actually be going to that game in Orlando at Camping World Stadium on December 3rd. So yeah, I think they'll actually get the 2 spot in the playoff. They'll probably play in the Fiesta Bowl. Number 3, Michigan. The Wolverines have looked fairly solid this year, but who have they played? Wisconsin. That's it. 14-7 win at home. Not that impressive. I think at a neutral site or in Madison, Wisconsin would beat them. 9 out of 10 times, Wisconsin beats Michigan. I don't think Michigan will make the playoffs. I do not think they will win the Big Ten. I don't even think they'll make it to the championship game. They will lose to Ohio State. They will lose to Ohio State. Mark my words. They're going to lose that game. And they could very well slip up against Iowa this week. I would not be the least bit surprised if that happens. You never know. Number 4, Washington. They've looked pretty solid. Jake Browning at quarterback. Chris Peterson's a great head coach. He's led them to 9-0 so far. So, I mean, what more can you ask for at this point in the season? They're 9-0. They almost have the Pac-12 North locked up. Well, actually, I take that back. They don't at all have the Pac-12 North locked up. They've got a tough home game this week. Should they prevail, they only have one more test, and that's the Apple Cup against Washington State. I don't know, the Cougars, they're a complicated team. They open the loss to Eastern Washington and to Boise State. Boise State's all right, but... And then they haven't lost since then, and they're undefeated in the Pac-12. I don't know. Explain yourself, Washington State. Explain yourself. Yeah, Washington, they're in a good position to go 13-0 and make the playoff. I think that could happen. Then on the outside, looking in Ohio State and Louisville, I think Ohio State will run the table, win the Big Ten, and make it in. Louisville, unless Clemson loses this week to Pitt and then Wake Forest, and even, I mean, Louisville would have to win the ACC to make it. And actually, I believe Clemson can clinch the ACC Atlantic this week if they beat Pitt. So, Week 11 is upon us. Western Michigan won their Tuesday night Maction game last night against Kent State. But Kent State kept it close for a while. I'm guessing most people wouldn't have seen that over the election. But yeah, there's some big games this week. I guess the biggest would be number 20 now, Southern Cal, at number 4, Washington. USC has won 5 straight games, I believe it is. They're looking pretty good right now. But Washington, this could be the quality win for them that they finally get. Michigan at Iowa, that could be a good one. That's 8 o'clock on ABC. Never know. I guess the game of the week in the ACC would be Pitt at number 2, Clemson. Clemson's favored by 21. Will they cover? It's tough to say. Probably not. I think could be a pretty close game. Could be a good one. I don't know. Let's go around conference to conference. ACC. I mean, you got to think Clemson. They're clear cut best team. They're gonna make it in. They are the face of the ACC right now. Enough said. SEC, Alabama. The East is terrible. The West is all right. but Alabama will most likely win. Auburn could. I think Alabama will. Big 12, just falling apart. This is why I'm looking forward to that championship game they're adding next year. Pardon me. I think Oklahoma will probably win the Big 12. I do not think they'll make it in the playoff, though. There's no way. Pac-12, all Washington right now. Maybe a little bit Colorado, but it's mostly Washington. Big 10, Ohio State will win it. Wisconsin could, but Ohio State will. Doomsday scenarios. Wisconsin wins the Big 10. Virginia Tech wins the ACC. The SEC East team, Florida most likely, wins the SEC. And Colorado wins the Pac-12. Well, that's things could get complicated if that all happens. My top 4 right now, who I think are the best 4 teams in the country: Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Louisville. I think those are your 4 best teams. But because of head-to-heads, here's who I think will make it. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Washington. This has been Butts Talk. See you next time.